welcome to Practical Excel. This is a channel devoted to the learning of Microsoft Excel. The goal here is to give you the tools needed to not only learn the many facets of Excel, but also give ideas on the raw power that can be harnessed into job opportunities. Now, I wanted to first say thank you very much if you've lasted this long in the series. You've seen a few of my mistakes in the previous videos. I'm going to do my best to stop those going into the future. I've actually considered explaining the VLOOKUP function before the if function, but decided to put it first because it's easier to really understand. The if function is, just if then else, and this is a little more to it. The VLOOKUP function is one of it's one of the most popular functions because of the power it gives the user. You may already know this function, but I still recommend watching, as later on we'll be combining every class into this, and it would help in the continuity of the future classes. So we'll just get right into it. So VLOOKUP, it's a function used when you need to find things in a table or range. The syntax is, you got VLOOKUP, and then you'll have the value you want to look up, and then with a comma, the range where you want to look up that value is basically your set of data, and then definitely important, the comma, the column number in the range containing the return value, and we'll get into what that means, and then whether or not you want it to be an exact match or an approximate match. We'll get into, I don't very much use the approximate matches in reporting or analytics because it's not really just the way things are done. So we'll almost always use the exact match, but I'll show you how the approximate match works, and that's indicated by saying false or true in the syntax, and we'll get into that. All right, so here we got two examples. In example one, we got John, Mary, Jamie, and then we got their different ages. So here we got the VLOOKUP, and you'll see in your first little section before the comma, we're going to look up John. We're going to look up it in from C9 to D11, which is our range here. And remember, you'll want the whole data range. The next one, your column index number, as you can see down here, we want 2, because basically you're going to start from the first one. This is 1, this is 2. And if I had a third one, this would be 3, and so on and so forth. And then here we'll want false, basically because if the name is not exact, we don't really want it to bring back an age. We would want the name to be exact, really. So we're going to do false here. And you'll see that it comes back with 25. If we came back in here and we changed this to Mary, we would expect 23 to come in. So that's example 1, basic nit and gritty of what a VLOOKUP is. Example 2, we're going to go into a little more detail. We're going to look up the name Johnny. Now Johnny, if you can tell, is not on the list here. He's not at all. We highlighted all of our data, every bit of our data, and then I wanted to bring back the 5th column, which if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the zip code. And then true. So this is saying that if you don't find a match, give me an approximate match. And you'll see it's giving us 02854. And so 02854 is John. So Excel has determined that Johnny is close to John. It doesn't always work in that case. It very rarely actually works in the case where John and Johnny sound similar and it works. And the letters are the same, the first 4 letters. But in this case, it did. But again, it doesn't always work that way. So there's the 2 examples. Now how you would use this in a normal day-to-day. So what I did is I did more of an inventory base here. We got the part number, quantity on hand, and unit cost. I made about 1,600 records. So the idea is it's more records than you want to just go fishing through. I created 2 VLOOKUPs, and I used the reference G3. And so this G3 section here, I have it going through A to C, and in this formula, I want to take the second column, which is A is 1, B is 2. So give me the quantity on hand, and then I want it false. Basically, give me the exact number. Do not give me an approximate. and it gives me 268. I did the exact same thing here, but I wanted column 3, which is the unit cost. And so I have it giving me the 63. Now, what's cool about the practicality of this is if you change the part number, the formulas will work with you. So let's say we do 960602. You'll see that the quantity is changed and the unit cost is changed. So basically you can put in any number that you want in here. I know they're 6-digit numbers, so if I do 123, 123. So the errors that you see, the /NA, means that that number doesn't exist in our list. So it's not going to give us any unit on hand or unit cost. Normally we're going to want to error check that so we don't see errors, because errors tend to be a little unprofessional when you get into it. So but that'll be the next class actually is the error checking this. So we'll go back, we'll go 180920 and we'll get it. And if you see there, it's right here. So it's pulling the data that we want. And so it's very useful to do that if you just want one section. You don't need to go scrubbing through the data. You don't need to, it's all there. So if you ever get a call and you need to look up some part information, if you know the part exists, you just have to type that part number in there and all your information comes right up to you immediately without having to dig through the data. Now, going into the innovation, I hope you guys like the innovation part of it, because I try to make it as useful as possible, and when we get later on, it will be magical, some of the things that are done. So in the innovation, I listed the part number, quantity on hand, and I did the unit cost, but I also added a column for size. And what I did here is I actually created a second table of size. So you have small, medium, large, extra large, and then your changes or your shipping cost per 100, right? And so what I did was to create an order form. Basically, you got your part number, what the person is going to order, how many they're going to order, and then here's where our VLOOKUPs come in. It's going to reference the part number that we just put in, and it's going to look up the unit cost, so the A through D, and we want 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be 4, and we want an exact match of it, so we're going to list false. The next one is your part cost. Your part cost is just a simple reference multiplication, the quantity that they're ordering and each part cost. Then we're going to look up shipping size, another VLOOKUP, but this time we only need to look up 3 columns, so I only highlighted A through C. You can do A through D. It doesn't change anything whatsoever. We're still just looking at the 3rd column, which is 1, 2, 3, the size. And then again, give us the exact match. Now the shipping cost is we're going to take the shipping size we literally just pulled in, so the small, and we're going to look that up in this column. So we got a VLOOKUP using I14, which is right here, and our table is changed to F2 to G5, which is just this red section here. We want the 2nd column, the shipping cost per 100, and then give us the exact number. Now also, to get the shipping cost, we kind of want to get, because this was a cost per 100, so what I did was I just took the quantity, divided by 100, and multiply it by the shipping cost, and you're going to get your total shipping cost basically, which is $8. So if you can see the small, it's $400. It's $4 per 100. They're ordering 200. It's going to be $8. And then here we just have an addition of the total part cost and your shipping cost. Now, what's also interesting that you can also do using possibly an if statement is one of the things you don't want to do is you don't want someone to be able to order more than there is on hand. So one of the things you can use with the if statement is, let's say I did 500. I actually have a little bit of a hidden cell, a hidden formula in here. So if I accidentally order more than we have on hand, it'll tell me there's not enough inventory. And you can see here, this is nesting, having a VLOOKUP nested inside of an if statement. And all it's doing is it's doing the quantity that they're ordering, that the person's ordering, and it's asking if it's greater than the VLOOKUP. So it's greater than the looking up the quantity on hand of that part number. And if the quantity they're ordering is greater, then write this, not enough inventory in this cell. Otherwise, if it's not greater, then just put blank. So you can see 180920, if we spend a little time here, 18920 is right here. So we know we have 473 on hand. So if I did 473, no problems. But if I did 474, we got problems because we don't have enough inventory for it. So that's basically the gist of it on innovation. Is you can actually make an order form here. And it's very simple. The only thing you wouldn't have to scrub any data, you wouldn't have to fill anything out. You just have to put in your part number and quantity. And the Excel will actually start giving you information back. You're no longer just putting information in. Excel is telling you whether or not you can whether or not you have enough inventory at this point. It's also telling you what the cost is. You don't even have to pull out a calculator, nothing. It's done for you. You know, if somebody came in and said, I want to order 117398 and I want 200 of them. There you go. You don't even have to look at the tables to the side. You can just really ignore them. They can be on different tabs at this point, you know, and you can just reference them from the different tabs. And you would never have to look at that data again unless you're adding or updating your quantities. Not only that, if you update your shipping cost, let's say for a small ends up going to $6, you can see that it automatically changes. Your formulas never change unless something drastic happens where you need to change them. And that's the purpose of someone who's doing an analytical or creating dashboards. Is what they want to do is they want to put the formulas in so that the formulas don't change, so that your average user that doesn't know any of this stuff that we're learning right now, they don't need to learn all this stuff. You've done it for them, you know. And not only that, it looks magical. It looks like the system is smart. The report is a smart report, almost like a phone. So that's about it. Thank you for watching. You can email me at practicalexcel2016@gmail.com. If you like it, please like it. And if you want to keep continuing the series, hit subscribe and you'll get notified. I'm going to try to get things out every couple of days here. Also, leave a comment if you wanted to see anything specific, and I can put it into this format and the structure and explain it as best as I can. All right, well, thank you very much. I'll see you next time.